Why do I say that the scariest time in the history of the Earth is not the dinosaur extinction or the Ice Age, but the time when even the name is like hell? There, the ocean is boiling lava, the sky is iron rain, and there are only terrible 6 hours a day, and any life will die in 0.1 second. It is the dark origin that a planet will tremble when it thinks of it. 4.6 billion years ago, the newly born Earth was not a blue planet at all, but a flaming fireball. The surface temperature is as high as 1,200 degrees Celsius, which is hotter than salt water. The whole planet is a boiling lava ocean. What's more terrible is that every few minutes, a small planet descends from the sky. The biggest impact directly hit the Earth out of a moon. The impact was equivalent to the explosion of 1 billion atomic bombs. The Earth was instantly torn apart, and the fragments flew into space. And finally, the moon we saw was fused. There is no solid ground on the Earth of the Ming Dynasty. What you step on is not solid land, but a hot lava ocean that is hundreds of kilometers deep. This lava ocean is like a pot of boiling soup that never stops. The temperature is between 1,200 and 1,700 degrees Celsius. At this temperature, the iron flows like water, and the rock melts like cream. What's more terrible is that the depth of this lava ocean is as far as 1,000 kilometers. It's equivalent to stacking 3 bamboos on top of each other and sinking them all into this sea of fire. But this is not the worst. Looking up at the sky, you will find a more terrifying scene. The atmosphere at that time was full of toxic gas. The concentration of carbon dioxide is now tens of thousands. There is also a lot of methane, carbon dioxide, and sulfuric acid. These gases are mixed together to form a thick layer of orange-red clouds. It envelops the entire planet under a gloomy, terrifying light. And because the Earth rotates very fast, it only takes 6 hours a day. This means that the sun rises every 3 hours, and the frequency of night and day shifts is 4 times that of now. In this hellish world, lightning is 100 times stronger than it is now. Thunder can shatter rocks. Volcanic eruptions are even more common. An average of dozens of volcanoes erupt every hour and put the boiling lava and toxic gas into the skies. Imagine standing on such an Earth where you will experience the super high temperature, the erosion of the toxic gases, the intense lightning, and the continuous earthquake. This is the real hell. However, the real disaster has just begun. Because in the early solar system, there were still chaos. Massive small planets, satellites, and other celestial fragments crashed into space. They are like a bullet that is out of control, hitting the young Earth day and night. According to scientists' research, in the early days of the ancient Ming Dynasty, there was a violent impact that destroyed the whole continent on average every 100 years. The energy released by each impact is equivalent to millions of nuclear bombs exploding at the same time. What these impacts bring is not only destruction, but also unimaginable heat. Every time a small planet that is 10 kilometers in diameter hits the Earth at a speed of 20 kilometers per second, the temperature of the impact point will rise to tens of thousands of degrees Celsius in an instant, which is hotter than the surface of the sun. The whole Earth will vibrate violently, and the impact wave produced will spread throughout the planet, causing global earthquakes and tsunamis. But the ironic thing is that the tsunami here is not a water wave, but a huge wave of salt water that is thousands of meters high. They sweep the surface, swallowing everything. The impact will also cause a huge cloud of dust covering the sky. These dust clouds contain a large number of rock fragments, metal particles, and toxic substances. They hover in the atmosphere, making the dark sky even more gloomy. Sometimes, a particularly violent impact will cause the whole Earth to be in the dark for months or even years. But even in the dark, the temperature on the surface is still terribly high, because there is too much heat accumulated on the inside of the Earth. In such an extremely bad environment, an unexpected reversal occurs. About 4.4 billion years ago, comets made up of water ice began to hit the Earth frequently. These comets flew from the edges of the solar system, carrying a large amount of ice and water resources. They hit the surface of the Earth at a speed of more than 60,000 kilometers per hour. These Water ice did not melt into liquid at all under the extreme temperature generated by the impact, but directly vaporized. In an instant, hundreds of millions of tons of water vapor rose to the sky, forming a huge mushroom cloud. These water vapor quickly rose to the sky, merging with the originally poisonous atmosphere, dew. You think the arrival of water will bring hope to the Earth? On the contrary, it makes this hell crazier. Because after these water vapor rose to the sky, the relatively cold atmosphere began to cool and freeze. So the most spectacular and terrifying rain on Earth's history is about to come to an end. How exaggerated is this rain? It rained for millions of years, and may even last tens of millions of years. Imagine a continuous rainstorm pouring down 24 hours a day for millions of years. What kind of concept is this? The entire history of human civilization is only a few thousand years old, but what's more terrible is that this rain is not ordinary rain, but extremely corrosive acid rain. Because of these raindrops, the water will have a chemical reaction with the toxic gases such as carbon dioxide and sulfuric acid in the atmosphere, and will also absorb the metal particles and other chemicals in the dust cloud generated by the impact of small stars. When these substances are mixed together, a very low pH acid solution is formed. The corrosiveness of this acid rain is 100 times stronger than the acid rain produced by modern industrial pollution. If you think that these acid rain will accumulate into a puddle, then you are wrong. Because the surface temperature at this time is too high, up to a few hundred degrees Celsius. When the acid rain falls to the EPS, boiling surface, it will emit a violent sizzling sound, evaporate in a moment, turn into water vapor again, rise to the sky, then freeze in the air, freeze to rain, fall again, evaporate again. This process repeats again and again, forming a continuous cycle of terror. Imagine this picture. The boiling surface is in the air. The acid rain falls gently. Every drop of rain falls. It will accumulate a white vapor. The whole planet is engulfed by a layer of dense water vapor and acid rain. The visibility is almost zero. In the air, the sulfur and acid smell are full of thorns. Lightning flashes crazily in the clouds, illuminating this chaotic world. This is the daily scene of the Earth. So when can this nightmare-like rain stop? The only answer is to cool the Earth. But how can we cool a planet with a surface temperature of hundreds of degrees Celsius? It takes time. It takes a long, desperate time. Scientists estimate that it takes at least millions of years for the surface temperature to drop to a temperature below 100 degrees Celsius, which can exist in liquid form. During this long cooling process, the Earth has undergone countless changes. The frequency of small star collisions is gradually decreasing. The intensity of volcanic eruptions is slowly weakening. The Earth's crust is gradually cooling down and becoming hard. The water vapor in the atmosphere is getting higher and higher. The air pressure is also getting bigger and bigger. It has even reached tens of times the current atmospheric pressure of the Earth. In this high-pressure environment, even if the temperature is over 100 degrees Celsius, water can also exist in liquid form. Finally, about 4 billion years ago, a historical moment has arrived. The surface temperature has dropped to below zero. The falling acid rain no longer evaporates instantly, but begins to stay on the surface. At first, it was just some small puddles appearing in low-lying areas. But as the rain continues, the water vapors gradually expand and gather into small streams. The small streams become rivers, which eventually flow into the basin of the low-lying areas. Although the water vapors that gather are still acidic and the temperature is still high, they are indeed liquid water. They continue to accumulate in the low-lying areas. The area is getting bigger and bigger. The depth is getting deeper. Millions of years have passed. The first real primitive ocean on Earth has finally formed. The emergence of the primitive ocean marks the fundamental change in the Earth's environment. The ocean begins to regulate the surface temperature, absorbing carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, making the atmosphere layer gradually thinner. The acidity of the acid rain is also slowly decreasing because the acidic substances are integrated with the seawater. More importantly, the ocean creates possibilities for the birth of future life. Although the ocean temperature at this time is still 70 to 80 degrees Celsius, almost boiling, the water is also mixed with black, or green, full of minerals and chemicals. But compared to the coastal ocean before, this is already a heavenly progress. Deep in this primitive ocean, near the deep sea, where those are called black chimneys, complex chemical reactions are taking place. From then on, this once jade planet has finally survived the darkest age of the Ming dynasty. After hundreds of millions of years of disasters, chaos, and destruction, it is about to enter a new age, the age of Taigu, the age when life is about to be born. And all these changes are actually due to that terrifying rain that lasted for millions of years. Who would have thought that it was this acid rain that seemed to destroy everything? In the end, it brought life to the earth. This may be the most magical place in nature. After the most extreme destruction, the greatest creation will often come.